Thank you everyone for coming. I appreciate everyone showing up. It's been really awesome hearing everyone's presentations, and it's really good to meet everybody too. So great to know your peers and classmates and everybody else. So today I am going to talk about a more personal, touching kind of, it might catch some people's attentions just a little bit, and especially in today's society, not everybody knows how things work. My topic today is about domestic violence. Some people might know someone who has gone through it, endured it, or anything of, or family members or anybody else. I personally have suffered domestic violence in the worst way possible. So when you think domestic violence, what automatically comes to your mind?
Physical aspect.
And when you think about the physical aspect, what comes to your mind there? Like bruising, black eyes, things like that? Not all abuse is portrayed that way, and that's what everyone seems to completely overthink. My abuse was not black eyes, scarring, broken noses, things like that. My abuse was more mental, emotional, some physical, yes, absolutely, but it was also an emotional toll on me. I grew up, pretty open person. I like to think myself as a personal person. However, my road to recovery from my abuse has been long and still continues, and it's been almost 2 years since I've been out of my relationship with my ex. So, one thing that I wanted to say was that how many domestic violence situations do you think are reported every year? Not many?
Minor.
There's 70% or more domestic violence cases that are never recorded. They estimate 30% to be reported. In my case, I never reported it, and shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But the thing that people seem to forget is that it isn't always as easy as, you know what, I'm done, I'm gonna pack up all my things and I'm just gonna walk to the door and I'm done. It isn't that easy. My life has been threatened more than once. My ex also threatened to take his own life the first time I told him that I was done. And for me, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want it hung over my head that because of me, somebody took their life. I don't want to have that in my life or my daughter's life, and for me, that wasn't an option, to have my daughter not growing up knowing her father. So I sat there and I said, you know what? Okay, we're gonna work through it, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna find help, but you need to control your anger. That was one of the conditions of why I stayed. He told me he was gonna work on his anger, we were gonna go for counseling, things would be better, and we would move on with our lives. Unfortunately, that never happened. The thing that I am most fortunate for is that I am able to be here today and be an advocate for domestic violence because I endured it and I survived it. Most people, unfortunately, don't. Most of the time, people leave and they think it's over, it's done with, they can go home and move on with their lives. That isn't actually the case, because when people end up leaving their abusers, 6 months later down the road, they're found killed in their homes. And that's a super sad thing, and I did not want to end up my life that way. I had a daughter, I had a family, I had my dog, and I said, you know what? I'm not leaving them behind. I'm too young to do this. I had my daughter when I was 19 years old. The first time my ex ever laid a hand on me, I was 17 years old. 17, I'm now 22 years old, and I'm still able to be here. The anxiety, depression, I suffer from that as well, and I went through immense counseling to get where I am today. Normally, I would be having a panic attack right now and be like, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, because all of those things that were ever said to me because of my emotional abuse would be coursing through my head. But I went to counseling, and that was my biggest thing I ever could have done, because out of everything, it's the counseling, like you said earlier, those thoughts that you have lead to the behaviors, and those behaviors go to your thoughts, and it's that vicious cycle. For years, I thought, I'm not worth it, I can't do this, I'm stupid, I'm no good, I'm nothing but a meager housewife, that's all I will ever be. So for me to come and even, you know, I was a single parent. I tried to go to school. Didn't happen. I went and got my nail certification so that I could do something with myself and feel like, you know what, I'm helping somebody. I'm doing something for somebody. And I wanted to do that in my life. I wanted to do things to help people. So I got my nail certification because I thought, you know what, if I can do people's nails and I can make them feel beautiful and I can make them feel good, I'm doing what I want to do in my life. I am doing something that I can do for the rest of my life. And that's what I wanted to make people feel. I wanted to make people feel that they were beautiful and wanted and accepted. And I opened my heart to complete strangers all the time and say, you know what, I'm really glad that you're here today because you know what, you might not hear that enough. To people at the Tim Hortons counter when you're walking through, they might always look happy, but you never know what's going on behind in their personal lives either. And that's how I was with my abuse. My parents, my family, never knew about my abuse until just this year. And my abuse started when I was 17. Left my ex when I was 20. It's been 2 years. My parents just found out this year that I was abused. My dad came up to me, he's like, you're lucky that son of a gun's not here because I'll kill him. And I'm like, you know what? Typical parent response. If anyone was harming my baby girl, I can assure you I'm the first one that's going to be at the door with an axe. It's happening. But, I mean, overall, something that I really wanted to do was be a mom. When I was 16, I decided, you know what? When I'm older, when I'm an adult, and I'm grown up, haha, I'm going to be a mom. That's the one thing that my ex gave me that he could never take away from me, was my daughter. My daughter is my daughter. I don't care what anyone says. She gets her looks from her mama. But it's hard, and to be able to persevere through that, you have to have hope and you have to have faith. If you don't have those, you're struggling huge, and there's nothing that's going to change that. I remember my ex and I fought in the truck. He refused to let me leave. Not the first time that he held me against my will. I was held against my will 5 times during our relationship. Having that done is very difficult, especially when you are having an emotional breakdown and you're terrified. He just came over and shoved you into the bed and then went and stood in front of the door. No way out of a room. I used to sit and cower in a corner and just with my head down, and I used to just cry. Now I don't let anyone walk over me because my counselor actually brought it up to me that I was being abused. Didn't think about it because I'm like, well, you know, we fight and then we make up and then we're fine, and then, you know, we're all lovey-dovey and we love each other and things are fine for a week. Things are fine. And then it goes right back. Who wants to live that kind of lifestyle where you're confined all the time and you don't want, you know, you don't want to go outside, you don't want to associate with people. You're being told that your friends are ruining your life. They're not good for you. No one deserves that kind of life. I didn't want that for my daughter. I certainly don't want it for me. I'm sure you guys don't want that for your families either. So, I mean, signs are there, and looking back on it, I should have seen those signs that my ex was abusive. But I thought, you know, it'll be fine, we'll get over it, you know. It's just a phase, it's just a little dip that we're in. It'll go away. Unfortunately, not the case. I have here my own personal photos of my abuse that I wanted to share because, again, not everything is bruises and scarring and broken noses. So, pass out that one. You can see I've circled everything. That photo there, me and my ex had a fight where I was confined in a truck where my head was being pushed down into the truck seat multiple times, and he grabbed me under here, lifted my head up. I had scratching all down here. I had a scratch on my face. I was crying because I was so upset about everything. I could not figure out what to do with myself. I just couldn't figure it out. I sat there like, why is this always happening to me? Why am I letting this happen? I had my nails done, and unfortunately, I went to go throw a punch to protect myself, and my nail hit the steering wheel. My nail almost came right off. My entire false nail with my actual nail almost came off. And on our last fight that him and I had, and it's not the worst that I'm sure people have seen, But I had that little scratch right here on my arm from him grabbing my arm in a forceful manner where you don't know what you're expecting, but when someone grabs you from behind and you feel that they're going to hit you, you just fall. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be with that person. You want to be as far away as possible, but you know that they're physically holding you back. And that fear itself is way worse than yourself holding you back. I can hold myself back all I want, and it doesn't matter. It's me doing it, and I know that. We can always differentiate. But when you want to leave and someone's physically holding you there, you're powerless. I don't always feel the need to be powerful, because I'm not a powerful person. Let's face it, I'm 5'1". No one's scared of me, I'm not intimidating, so we'll just leave that. But, you know, you have to have the power of yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to keep that hope and that faith. So I have them tattooed on my arm. Hope and faith. I live by these two words, because without hope, I never would have been hopeful for my future. I wouldn't have come to school. I wouldn't have tried to improve my life. I would have sat at home, being a single mother, and I would have sat there and been like, you know what? My life doesn't matter. I'm not worth it to anybody. My life will never come to anything. So, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was that there is help out there for people of abuse. And it is one of those things where this is my first time ever talking to anybody about my story. Ever. You guys are the very first ones to ever hear my story outside of my own mind. This has been ruminating in my head for 2 years. That itself has taken so much of my life and my mind. There's no way to describe it. I'm so run down all the time. I've been stressed. I've had anxiety. I've had panic attacks. And it sucks. I'm on medication because I can't control it anymore. And that's the sad reality of that. I'm glad that I went for counseling, because after my abuse ended, my counselor told me, you know what? It's time to take all your baggage, throw them in the trash can. Forget it, leave it all behind, because you don't need it. It's going to tear you down in the long run. And you don't need to be torn down. You're a great person who has a kind heart, and that's what you need to project. So, I went, and my counselor enrolled me in self-esteem classes. One of the better things that I did. That self-esteem class was with other women who were much older than I was, but it made a little bit more sense to me after it was all done, because I knew that no matter how much my ex tore me down, I was still overpowering him because I got back up. I didn't let him hold me down, like the one time where he held my face in the gravel in his driveway. To this day, I still forgive him. I forgive everything that he did for me. And why? Because there's no point in hating people. There's no point. You can hate people all you want, but at the end of the day, how lonely are you going to be? How much is that really going to take to say, you know what, they hurt me, but it's time to forgive. Will I ever forget it? Absolutely not. Verbal abuse is one of those things where, you know, you can get a kite, it scars, it heals, you get over it. Verbal abuse is one of those things where when you're told, you know, today, you suck, I hate you, have a nice day. That's with you the rest of the day. And when you go through a relationship for 3 years and you are told over and over and over, you're not going to amount to anything, you're doing nothing with your life, you suck, I hate you, I love you, but I hate you. You're being pulled between two worlds. You're getting torn up, and you're getting brought up, and then you're getting torn right down to where you started. So when you go and, you know, you look in the mirror and you go, you know what? Today, I love who I am. As soon as you walk out the door and someone comes up to you and say, you know what, you look like shit today. Well, I guess I'm going back to the bathroom to fix myself, right? Like, you know, us as women, we do that. We do our makeup, right? We all wear our makeup, and we all sit there and we're like, you know what? It looks good. It looks fine. You walk out of the bathroom, you know, your eyeliner's just a little bit, you know. We all sit there and we're like, are you really? Go to the bathroom, fix it, take it all off, do it again, right? You guys know that struggle, I'm sure. I do. Do it all the time. Mommy, what are you doing? Kaylin, not right now. Mommy. Okay, I'll pay attention to you. Won't finish my makeup. Be half done today. That's cool. But you know, you gotta look at life as, you know, things might happen. Absolutely, things are gonna happen. And you can't control them. But if someone comes trying to pry you down, be the better person. Say, you know what? I don't hate you and I forgive you, but I feel sorry for you. Because that's what I did with my ex. I told him, you know what? You can hate me all you want. However, I'm not gonna go down the same path as you. I don't wanna go there. So you know what? I forgive you. However, what you've done to me is always gonna be here and here. My soul has been cut numerous times, and there's no way around that. There's no way to go and say, you know, I'm over it. These things you just don't get over. They're there. They're emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. Because I know for a fact, being in that situation for me was the most difficult things. Sure, I may not have had a gun, you know, pointed to my head, you have to stay, but I had that little voice in the back of my head. If you leave, I'm killing myself. If you leave and you don't decide to come back, that's fine, but you will never be with anybody else. If I can't have you, no one else can. And that itself is scary. If I went out and I tried to have a new relationship, who was gonna be on the tail end of that? My ex. It was a never-ending vicious cycle. I've had to block him from Facebook. I've had to block him off my phone because of harassment. Can't have my daughter out of daycare without him coming to me and being like, why isn't she in daycare? Sorry, I didn't realize it was a big deal. It's a Monday and I don't work right now. Didn't realize it was a huge deal if she's not at daycare on a Monday morning. Sorry. But, you know, just to have someone even come to you and say that, you're sitting there like, why does it matter? It's my life. I can do what I want. But no, when you have your abuser who's constantly there, they never leave you alone. I'm engaged to my now fiance. My ex has tried to ruin that relationship 3 times. He kept his promise. No, if I can't have you, no one can have you. However, that backfired in his face. And why? Because I'm not one to give up. And that's why I would not let him pull me down. I won't give up because I have that faith that I'm the bigger person in this whole situation. I've never done anything to hurt anybody intentionally. Sure, I've said words, you know, we all get mad and say words, but that's what they are, they're words. If you know they don't mean anything, they're just words. They might hurt, but sticks and stones can break my bones. Words sometimes can hurt me, but it depends if we choose to let them hurt us. Through the self-esteem class that I went through, it was incredible what some of these women had gone through. But at the end of the day, we all sat there, and I remember our last class, and we all cried together. We're like, you know what? It's the last time we're ever gonna see each other. We've come to know each other so well over the last 4 months. And now we're just gonna disappear? Like, that's not very nice, you know. But, you know, it's a tough thing, and I come talking about this, not for anyone to feel sorry for me or what I've gone through. I want to encourage people that they can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. If you're in an abusive relationship, there's ways out. We have here in Alberta, through Alberta Works, a system where if you have an emergency and you need to get out, they come pick you up. They can take you to a shelter. If that shelter is full, they'll put you in a hotel. Give you $56 and say, you know what, the necessities that you need, here's $56. Go get what you need. We have that help. Alberta Works will also help you rebuild what you lost. If you had a house and you had to evacuate, Alberta Works helps you get that house back. They help you to get your life like it's like a Kickstart program. You come in having absolutely nothing, and they help to build you to those steps that you have to be at. And that is what I love about Alberta, in all honesty. We have these things. We have the counseling. We have all these things that we can do. But how many of you knew that Alberta Works had that program? And that's why they're not used to their full potential, because people don't know about them. But it's also different when you don't know that someone's being, you know, abused. And they all have different forms. They have a physical, emotional. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. And that's just the sad, unfortunate thing of abuse, is it really does suck. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. When you're in that situation, you're in that situation, and that is your life. Your life revolves around what your abuser does to you. I will never forget that one time where I went out of the truck just to go to the house, just to cool off. I will never forget that he came and tackled me, pinned my hand behind my back, sat on top of me, and when I tried to scream, he pushed my face into gravity. I will never forget that day. But I forgive him. Because my hope and my faith are much bigger than what he can do to me. He could have killed me, and I flat out told my parents, I didn't care if I walked out of that house in a body bag. At least I did something with this world. And at least it was me who had been killed. He would have been put away, and no one else would have had to deal with it. Sad reality of this is he has now got another girl pregnant, left her to be a single mother. He's now with another girl. Not that girl that he got pregnant, but another girl. So his cycle just never ends. Mine, however, I got over it. I went and I said, you know what? I have to have faith that I'm worth something. I have to have hope that my future is going to be a lot brighter than my past. And I did that. I got up there and I went, you know what? I'm done with this. He gave me a really easy out to get out, and that's how I got out alive. Because he looked at me and we were fighting over something. He bear hugged me and walked me over the stairs, opened the door, and dropped me. My daughter was right behind him when he did that. My 5-month-old daughter witnessed her dad throwing down the foot stairs. And again, that is something that will never leave my mind. But I can forgive him for it. And why? I get that he was angry. Shouldn't have been done, but it was. And nothing I can do about it. Forgive. Keep your heart open. It doesn't matter what happens. I've been bullied. I still forgive everyone that bullied me all through high school, because anyone that said, you won't do anything, sorry, but here I am now. I'm a law student. I'm doing something with my life. I'm bringing out the positive aspects of life. And I'm doing what I love to do. I'm speaking about this, and I was told that, it might be a bit of a touchy subject, and, maybe not do this. But I need to talk about it. And why? Because I've been there. I don't want anyone else going through it. It's awful. I don't wish it upon anybody. It's the worst thing that ever could have happened. I was so torn down about it. But hope and faith, right on my arm. Every day I look at that tattoo and I say, you know what? I have faith and I love my faith. I have hope and I love my hope. It has gotten me through so much over 3 years. And now, may have been abused, but now I've got a great fiance. I have a beautiful little girl who makes me so happy. And on my sad days, she comes up to me and taps me on the arm and says, Mommy, don't be sad. I'm here for you. Don't be sad. And I will never forget my little girl's little words, ever. Those words are forever up here, because that little girl is what makes me happy. But I just wanted to conclude on that it might be hard in life, but we have this in the bag. We're here, we're alive, we're great people, and it doesn't matter what anyone does to you. Keep up your strength, keep up your hope, keep up your faith. That's all it is, hope and faith. All up here. But I appreciate everyone for listening, and I appreciate the time